I just hit the record. now we have to behave.
No.
How do you put a picture up with your name?
Recording now, so.
Darn, we have to keep it clean.
There's Miss Bunny. Miss Bunny's at the beach. Hi, Bunny.
Hey, Bunny.
Hey, Bunny.
Hello. Miss you, Bunny.
Hey.
And Jennifer's here. Hi, Jennifer.
Put a picture at your name.
Hi.
Yeah, I didn't have a very good Valentine's Day either, I'll be honest, but I don't really want to talk about that, so.
I don't either.
Man, I think Patricia lucked out. I think Susan lucked out.
Yeah.
With awesome guys.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't have to be sorry.
I'm sorry.
Mine was a second marriage.
Really?
First time 20 years. Second time 28.
Wow.
Wow,
See,
that's great.
My kid's father. I was married we were together for 14 years.
Wow.
We divorced many, many years ago, 1998. And I've been with my new crazy boyfriend for 9 years now, and he drives me insane. Susan knows all the details. Nobody else. I'm not going to tell anybody else.
And I'm not either.
But anyway,
25 years.
that's why we all make wreaths, because it keeps us sane. We all
That's
have a reason
right.
for making wreaths.
Yay.
That's
So,
it.
Exactly.
We could take up the whole 2 hours discussing it.
Yeah.
Very
that.
proud of me. I went to Joann's today and I didn't spend one dime. I didn't buy one thing. I didn't buy anything. I didn't really see anything that, kind of like struck me. It didn't really excite me. So, but then Hobby Lobby's another story. If I'd gone to Hobby Lobby, I would have spent money. So.
My God, I go crazy. I lose my mind.
I know. And I've told you the story. Like, if I have to go to Hobby Lobby and buy something specific for a class, I'll bring one of my kids with me. I'll tell them,
I think
you
that's
gotta
so
keep me
funny.
focused. I need to get 5 yards or 2 yards of fabric. Don't let me look at anything else.
That's so
And
funny.
I start to like wander, and they're like, "Mom, no."
They call at work.
Those things that you put on babies when they're little, so they don't like wander away.
Yeah.
Bungee cord things.
Those leashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harness.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
They
that's
laugh
what I
at me at work because I call Hobby Lobby my crack house.
That's right.
I can spend my whole paycheck in Hobby Lobby and not buy none.
I love
Look
it.
at you in a minute.
You know what I wish we had still was an AC Moore. I miss our AC Moore store. That closed years ago. We used to have an AC Moore.
Mm.
And that was really, that was really when I started getting into making wreaths. And that was when my kids were little. And that was before I even knew what Deco Mesh was. I don't even know if Deco Mesh was around in the 90s. I don't know, unless maybe they just used it for weddings, like tulle. But I used to just make the balsam and grapevine wreaths. This was like when my kids were little again in the 90s. And then about a year and a half or so ago, I discovered Deco Mesh, and I had no clue what it was. So, but anyway, we could sit here and talk all night, or we can make a wreath. So let's. I'm going to move my laptop over now. Anne, this is your first class. Patricia, have you sat in on a class before? You have, right?
No, this is my first class.
Okay, so Patricia and Anne, what are you using to watch me? Are you using your phone? Are you on a laptop, PC?
Laptop. Patricia, laptop.
Patricia, you're on a laptop. What are you using, Anne?
I'm on a laptop.
I'm sorry?
I'm on a laptop.
Okay, so what I normally do, and the reason I'm asking you this is I mute everybody at the beginning of the call. Hi, Sandy. I mute everybody at the beginning of the call because it just kind of cuts down on background noise, but it's important that you know how to unmute yourself so you can ask a question. So if you're both on a laptop, just hover your mouse over the bottom of your Zoom box and your controls will come up, and it'll either say start or stop video, mute or unmute. So when you have a question, you can just hit that unmute button and unmute yourself.
Okay.
Now, am I big on your screen or am I tiny? Because there's a way you can fix that too.
You're big.
I fixed mine.
What's that?
My sister did.
You fixed it. So Anne and Patricia, is my screen big? Is my image big or is it small?
You're big right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you can actually take your mouse and double click on my picture, and that I'll stay big the whole time.
Okay.
Because
Oh,
what happens with Zoom? Jennifer's painting her nails. How cute is that?
I know.
What happens with Zoom is it defaults to what's called speaker view. And what that means is whoever is talking at the time, boy, look at my hair, I need a haircut. Whoever is talking at the time, their image will come up on the screen and take over the screen. And if they don't have their webcam on, it'll just be a black screen. But if you double click on my picture, I'm gonna move this over as I'm talking. If you double click on my picture, then I'll stay big on the screen. And that's important, that way you can see what I'm doing. So let me turn my heater off because it's getting warm in here. It was 60 degrees here the other day in upstate New York, and then it went back down to the 20s. So I'm gonna change my camera over so we can see my craft table. I was just looking at my craft table. I really need to get a bigger table. I was just thinking about that. I don't really have the biggest table. I need more room. I'm gonna plug in my laptop so I don't lose power, because that has happened before and it's not fun. I left a bunch of ladies sitting there talking amongst themselves, and I had like disappeared while I tried to plug my laptop back in. Okay, just make sure that this is stable here. Okay, so unless anybody has any questions, I'm just going to mute everybody now and get started. Does anybody have any questions before we get started?
Yes. What do you film with? Your cell phone or what?
Is that Patricia?
Yes.
I have a webcam built into my laptop. That's what you saw me on when I first started talking. And this one I'm using now is just a separate webcam. It's a Logitech. I'm going to actually invest in a better one. But this is a Logitech webcam that I plug into my laptop, and I have it mounted on this very fancy contraption that I don't really want to explain because my daughter helped set it up. But that's all it is. I'm actually going to try to invest in a better one because I watch the playback sometimes on YouTube, and I don't think the picture is as clear as I would like it to be. It looks really clear right now,
Yeah.
but I am definitely going to be investing in a better webcam. I might even start using my phone. I've seen a couple of other wreath makers use their phone, their iPhone, and they just get a tripod and they mount it on there, and the image is really, really nice. So yeah, that's what I use.
Okay.
But I'm going to mute everybody. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself. That's why we do it this way and not do Facebook Lives, because I don't think I'd really be able to do Facebook Lives because I'm so busy focusing on what I'm doing that I wouldn't really be able to keep watching all the questions that are typed in. So that's kind of why I do it this way. I know Zoom can kind of be a pain in the neck for some people if you're not used to it, but the ability to be able to ask questions out loud is nice. So, Anne, I don't know if you've seen one of these before or if anybody has seen one of these before, but this is called a work wreath. This is just a wreath form that already has the ties attached. I got this from Craft Outlet. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. I saw some at Joann's today. They have, the ones that usually they sell in the stores have the thinner ties. They're not real fluffy like these. I like to buy these when I'm using a work wreath because these sort of add to the finished product. After you tie your mesh in, you don't necessarily have to worry about hiding these because it's almost like a little embellishment. And you can see that I got green to go with St. Patrick's Day. They have all different colors. They're a little bit more expensive. I still use the regular wreath forms. In fact, I just picked up a box today from the Dollar Tree, and I add my own ties. But what's nice about the work wreaths, as you can see, they're raised a little bit. Like if you see the wreath forms from the Dollar Tree, they're more flat. And this being raised like this just helps to make your wreath a lot fuller. I've noticed that because it's raised. So, but if you have your own wreath form and you added your own ties, a good rule of thumb, and it's just how it is on here, you're going to put 10 on the outside, 10 ties on the outside, 8 on the inside or on the inner bar, and space them 4 to 5 inches apart. Normally what I do is when I'm tying it on, I'll have my glue gun handy. I'll put a little dollop of glue here, and then I'll twist it, and it holds it and it keeps it from sliding around your wreath form, because that's a pain in the neck when you're trying to attach your mesh and your pipe cleaners are sliding all over the place. Now, it's not unheard of for me to add more ties to one of these. If I'm making a wreath and I find that I see gaps, I'll grab another pipe cleaner and I'll add another ruffle here or there. That's totally fine too. I like nice full wreaths, so I've done that many times. Now, this is my mesh. I got this really pretty, this is a jute mesh. It's a poly jute, and all that means is that it's got lines of burlap running through it. Normally I cut my mesh with my wood burning tool, but your wood burning tool will not cut through this because of this. You can see the lines of burlap through there. So usually I use scissors because I'm like a total fanatic about fraying, and it would take me forever to kind of cut through the little lines. I would say I have some fraying here already, because I would try to cut through the grid lines to make sure that I don't have any fraying, but I was sort of in a hurry, and I had gotten a new rotary cutter the other day, and I'll tell you something right now. This thing is really, really sharp. And you can see by my Band-Aid here that when I was wiping off some of the fibers, I cut myself pretty good. So be really careful when you're using a rotary cutter, because they are really, really sharp, especially if they're brand new. But you may have a little bit of fraying with this, but don't panic. You know, as long as you don't overhandle it too much, once you put it on your wreath, don't pull at it, don't tug at it. You're going to be fine. But all my other mesh I normally cut with the wood burning tool. So this is what we're going to use. I cut this into 20-inch pieces. My goal is to put 2 of these per tie. Now you're going to think that's a pretty long piece of mesh, but it's going to make a nice full wreath. I've made wreaths out of 30-inch ruffles before, and it's really makes a nice full wreath. So I have some of these little thingies that I picked up. I think I got these from the Dollar Tree. I'm not going to really go crazy embellishing this wreath because I'm going to have a lot of ribbon too that I'm going to add. Let's see where my leprechaun is. I've been waiting so long to use my little leprechaun, even though he's really not that little. He's pretty big. He's a pretty big boy. You can see how big he is. He's so cute though. And my son would get freaked out every time he came into my office, and he'd say that he was staring at him because I've had him sitting over in the corner. He's like, Mom, he's staring at me. When are you going to put him in your wreath? So, and then what I'm probably going to do, I haven't decided yet. I have to cut the tag off him. I'm either going to put his little sign in the middle there, or I may put the sign off to the side. I'm not quite sure yet where I'm going to put my sign, but you can see I already put, if you live in a warmer temperature, you may want to staple your chenille stems on instead of hot gluing them, because I know if it hangs outside, you know, some people in the South complain that hot glue melts. So you can actually staple your chenille stems to the back of your sign as well. That's fine. Let me cut the tag off of him so he's ready to go when we're ready to put him on.
E6000 is the bomb.
Yeah, you know, and I saw that today at Joann's, and I was going to buy some too. So what is it? Is it sort of like the tacky glue? You just sort of like, it comes in like a squeeze bottle, or?
It comes in a squeeze tube, and you have to be really careful because it can kind of be a little runny. Not real runny, yeah. But I mean, it'll spread, and you have to let it dry overnight. It's not going to dry right away. It has to dry overnight.
And there's no smell. That doesn't really smell that much, does it? The E6000.
And when you first squeeze it out, it does. Yeah. But when it dries, it doesn't.
Because I bought this to spray on my wreaths if I have frame, this Elmer's Craft adhesive, and this stuff smells terrible. I hate this.
Well, the E6000 glue, I mean, when you first squeeze it out, it does kind of smell, but I mean, when it dries, it doesn't. But it's
right.
It's great for the humid
things about
temperatures.
The E6000. Okay, so let's start making our ruffles. This is a 20-inch piece. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to go around and put 1 in each tie, and then I'm going to see how it looks. I'd like to try to add 2 for each tie, but we might not need to. But let's just see how we do here. So we're just going to start Anne, is this the first time you've seen a ruffle wreath being done?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you have your 20-inch piece. These are your cut ends, okay? And these are your finished ends. So we're just gonna start in the middle here. Now, for a lot of people, it's easier to ruffle up on the ends, like that, and make your ruffle. That's difficult for me, as you can see. I'm already having trouble. Let me pull this out here. The way you're really supposed to do a ruffle is you just start in the middle, okay? And it's nice that you have these lines here like I have in my mesh. And you just start ruffling it up. You start pinching it and pulling it towards you. And this is a pretty big ruffle, so don't let it feel like it's gonna get away from you. Now, what I do after I make my ruffle, because I don't want my ends to show, you can see this stuff is already fraying, is I kind of tuck them in a little bit. I sort of go underneath with my hand and just tuck those cut ends under, just like that. So they're not going to show. They're kind of hiding underneath there. Here I am pulling. And there we have our little ruffle. And we're going to put that face down. So that's where we tucked our cut ends in there. And we're just going to put that face down in our tie. And we're only going to twist it once, one good twist, because we want to make sure that we have enough of this left to add our ribbon to. And I like to put them going this way. I like to have them going in the same direction as my wreath form. So that's a ruffle. That's it.
Cool. Thank you.
What's that? Who was that?
Cool. Thank you. It's Anne.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
You're gonna love, there's so many different ways to do the ruffle, and you can do a ruffle with 21-inch mesh. You can do a ruffle with, this is 10-inch mesh. I've done a ruffle with 6-inch mesh. So again, once we get it all pinched together, like I said, I like to just go in the back or underneath and just sort of tuck those cut ends in. Just kind of tuck them in a little bit so they're not showing. You pinch it in the middle, and there's your ruffle. Just go to the next tie. One good twist. And I kind of like to, where the two ruffles meet, I like to kind of push them up a little bit, just so they're pushing each other up, because it's nice when you get them all on and they're all kind of fluffing each other up. And that's that. I'm not quite sure why I even buy this jute mesh, because I'd like to be able to use my wood burning tool, but this was just so pretty with the lime green strands running through it, and I got it from Craft Outlet. Now, Anne, all mesh is going to fray. You can get better quality mesh, but I'll be honest with you, I've bought Dollar Tree mesh and cut it with my wood burning tool and had no fraying. I don't know if you all have seen my poinsettia that I made last year. That was all made with Dollar Tree rolls of red mesh. And I cut that with the wood burning tool. And honestly, I used green mesh. I need to get a Band-Aid. I used green mesh from Hobby Lobby for the leaves. And the leaves frayed more than the Dollar Tree mesh did. This is my poinsettia here, and I'll show you. Oh, I'm stuck here. This is my poinsettia up on the wall over here. Hold on. Can you see that? That was all made using Dollar Tree mesh. You can't really see it. I'll send you a picture of it. You can see it. But Craft Outlet has really good quality mesh. Hold on, I'm a little bit blurry here. And you're going to find that hold on a second here. You can get mesh that has a lot of foil in it. It's called a wide foil. And the more foil a mesh has in it, the less it will fray as well. You know what, hold on one second, guys. I just want to grab a Band-Aid. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. I actually had a couple of injuries this week. I cut myself with my new rotary cutter, and I was also, when I was cutting my mesh for, what was I cutting mesh for the other day? Oh yeah, it was last week. It was for the flower. I was cutting my mesh with the wood burning tool, and dummy me grabbed the wrong end of it and burned my finger pretty good. So I actually have 2 injuries. I have one on this finger and one on this finger. So you gotta be really careful. And I'm laughing about it now, but the wood burning tool gets really, really super hot. And make sure that you're focusing like I was not when you go to grab it. And I don't know if you've seen the wood burning tool. I keep saying Anna, I'm talking to everyone here. This is what the wood burning tool looks like. And it's basically like a soldering iron. There's a video on my page and it shows how to use it. This is a wider tip. You can get the ones that's a Plaid brand 2-in-1 wood burning tool that has a thinner tip. But this gets very, very hot, and you basically just go in between the lines of your mesh, your grid lines, and it sort of melts it as it cuts it, and it keeps it from fraying. So you have to have a piece of glass, obviously. You can't just cut it on your cutting mat or you're going to melt it. I have an old storm window that I use from my basement. It works out pretty well. Part of me is kind of wishing I had cut this with my scissors and not my rotary cutter, because I think I would have had less frays, but I just didn't have the time. So I just kind of go in, like I said, underneath, and I just fold the ends in. Have your nice little ruffle. I actually have another video that I did. I know some of you probably participated in that class. I called it my no-cut ruffle. You can actually take your 10-inch mesh and make a garland out of it without cutting it and make ruffles that way. And I remember, Bunny, you were laughing, and remember you told me it looked like I was wrestling a snake. Remember that? When I had made my garland and I was attaching it to the wreath form. Because what you basically have is you have one long continuous piece of your mesh. You're not cutting it. It's really a very neat technique. And obviously, since you're not cutting it, you're not going to have any fraying. I always like to tell the story of the very first mesh wreath that I made. And I was so frustrated with the fraying that I just took my wreath apart and I threw, there's this huge pile of mesh on my floor. And my son walked in and he said, "Mom, why did you kill your wreath?" So you're going to find there's going to be moments of frustration if you're just starting out. But when you learn the tricks of the trade, you know, it gets easier and you'll be surprised at what you can accomplish. Right, Susan? Where'd you go, Susan?
Here I am. I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm having trouble unmuting myself.
You are?
I was having trouble unmuting myself.
Well, that's okay.
I'm so sorry. Pardon me.
No, honey, don't be sorry.
I'm
Ann and
over.
Patricia, Susan and Bunny have been with me since the beginning. They're my buddies.
Well, I'm so
They're my
involved.
blood. What's that?
From me?
They've been with me since the beginning. Huh?
From me? Oh, I was just saying I was just so overly involved in getting my mesh correct that I wasn't even hearing you.
Oh, that's okay. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't just
I'm
sort of
sorry.
like randomly call on you. It's almost
Yeah,
like
you
I feel
should.
like you're in a classroom and
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
should.
calling on you to make sure that you're paying attention. Don't worry. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus.
I know that by now. I know
You
that.
know I love you.
I know it. I love you too.
Aw.
Yeah.
Christina, you do all the outside and then you do the inside before you start going back around the outside again, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put one ruffle in every tie. I'll go
Okay.
to the inside, and then I want to see if I even need to put another ruffle.
Okay.
I might not need to. I mean, I'm gonna have the extra mesh, so, but I might not need to.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. I've got these little fibers all over the place here. Hold on a second here. What's popping up here? Whoops. I need to shut my Facebook down so I don't beep. So I only get about 10 zillion notifications a day. You know what's always fun is when I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I have frantic emails and people reporting rudeness in the group, and then I have to get right up and I have to take care of it because that's just not tolerated. You know, someone gets on a post and they start getting nasty, they're gone. There's, you know what, one strike and you're out. It's not going to happen in my group. And you would be surprised at how rude some people can be. And it's just unprovoked. Grown women.
They hide behind the anonymity of Facebook and are just downright nasty.
But it's just ridiculous. We're making wreaths. It's supposed to be fun, you know. You're not supposed to attack each other.
It's horrible, but I mean, I would never think that grown women would act that way.
Oh my gosh. I know I've told you guys some of you have probably heard this story before, but I started my group, my Big Need to Wreathe group that has almost 50,000 members now, in June of last year. And I basically started it because I personally belonged to some other wreath groups and I didn't like the way they were being run. I didn't like the rules, and you know, for a variety of reasons, I just wasn't happy with it. And I'll be honest with you when I tell you that I started this Need to Wreath group on a whim. I kind of thought up the name of the group and I thought, that's kind of clever, you know, I'll use that. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine how quickly the group would grow. And I started getting messages, you know, from women who wanted to learn. And ideally, the Need to Wreath Making Club was supposed to just be a sort of a social thing where people could get together and make wreaths, and, you know, we could chat, you know, if someone didn't have anyone near them that they could craft with, and it was just supposed to be a fun social thing, and it ended up turning into classes. It just happened. I really like that mesh. That's so pretty. I actually cut some extra green too. I thought about maybe adding some extra green, just solid green, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not. Just folding those ends in. Tucking those in. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's been kind of a crazy day today. My son and I go out to breakfast every Saturday morning. It's kind of our little thing. And we were leaving the diner and we were pulling out. There's two main, I guess, thoroughfares, if you want to call them that, where we live in upstate New York and Rome, New York. We were pulling out from the diner and we pulled into the middle lane because it was a 4-lane highway. And so we were making a left out of the diner and my son pulled into the middle lane to try to merge into the traffic. And I don't know what happened, but we ended up getting into kind of a little fender bender. There was a guy coming up really fast and my son was trying to merge and ended up getting scraped by this other car. And the guy like took off. He just like left. So I'm thinking to myself, he knows that he hit us. Where's he going? So we followed him and had to call the police and file the insurance. And my son was upset because he just got this car last year. So that happened this morning. But it was like my side of the car that the guy scraped, and it, you know, it was kind of scary. Not really a lot of damage, but still, I don't think the guy was paying attention, to be honest with you. You know, nobody got any tickets, but, you know, it's a good thing. It could have been a lot worse, but it's scary. I tend to ramble, Ann and Patricia, in my classes here, because I don't like to just sit here and like make the wreath and not talk. I feel like it's like boring. So I'll talk about, you know, I don't even remember sometimes what I talk about. I have no idea. I watch the video after and I think to myself, oh my gosh, what am I talking about? I talk about my dog, and there's Susan laughing. Then I talk about my dog and what I had for dinner. And I love your laugh. I love to make you laugh.
You crack me up. Now let me see if I can unmute again.
You don't have to unmute. I mean, you have to mute, not unmute. You were unmuted. You have to remute.
Whatever I have to do. Mute, remute, unmute, la mute, I don't know.
So
but I need to, my voice needs to leave the group.
no, look how pretty that is. I just love ruffles. Aren't those gorgeous?
Beautiful.
I just love ruffles. You know what? I would do ruffles any day over a poof. I don't like the poof method that awful much. My poofs never seem to come out looking right, so I just love ruffles. Did I just say that I love ruffles? I'll say it again.
I never took a class when I first started learning how to make wreaths, and I developed my own method for making poofs.
Yeah. I like my poofs closer together. I know that. I like them. I don't like them as, I make them as big as everyone else does, but I like them kind of squished together a little bit more. Is that how
I do. I put in each section of a wreath, I put 4, in between each crossbar,
Yeah.
I put 4 poofs.
Oh, there you go.
I'll use, if I use different colors, I'll use a 30-foot roll of mesh to go around the wreath. And there won't be any left over.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, but I taught myself, and I don't know where I learned it. I just did it.
That's good, though, that you came up with your own method, you know?
Yeah.
And if you see me pulling at my phrase, don't do that. It's better to cut them. And like I always tell everybody, I use the analogy of a sweater. If you have a loose string on a sweater, what's going to happen when you pull on that string? It's going to make it worse. So same thing with mesh. If you see a fray, it's better to cut it. This is what happens when you get to the middle of the roll. It really kind of wants to roll in itself. Cut it as opposed to pulling on it. I'm just going to let that end piece stay curled under, because that way it hides that cut end. So your goal, you want your ruffles to kind of be facing up. So that's why I'm sort of like pushing them up against each other here, if you can see that. I have a lot more mesh. I don't think I really need it. And this is an inner piece here, so you can see how curly that is when you get to the middle of the roll. You know what, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think I've ever made or really decorated for St. Patrick's Day because I'm not Irish. I'm actually Ukrainian and French Canadian. My dad was Ukrainian and my mom's parents were born in Montreal. So how's that for a combination? And my kids, their dad was Italian, Sicilian. So they've got kind of quite a mix going there too. Can you see that, Ann? Can you see what I'm doing there? If you need me to slow down or do it over again, please don't hesitate to ask me to show something again. You are going to get a copy of the video, so you can pause it and replay it and fast forward it. And who was telling me the other day? Somebody messaged me. They were watching one of my videos, and they said they were going to be hearing my voice in their sleep because they had to replay it so many times. And I thought, oh my God, what a thought. Okay, so here we have this wreath, and I only have 120-inch ruffle per tie, and that's actually pretty full. We have a pretty full wreath going here. But you know what? I have a lot of leftover mesh. I have a lot more mesh that I want to use. I don't really want to waste that because I have 2 rolls. So the question is, oh, am I a little bit blurry here? Hold on a second here. I'm a firm believer in no wreath is a cookie cutter wreath. Everybody has their own way of doing things. You can add things differently. You can take away. So what I want to figure out what I want to do is, do I want to add another ruffle per tie, or do I want to kind of try to add, you see what happens when I pull this ruffle? There's a space there. So what I think I might do, instead of adding another ruffle per tie, I think I'm just going to grab some more pipe cleaners because I do have some green, and I'm just going to add some more ruffles. I'm going to go in between, and I'm just going to add some more pipe cleaners and some more ruffles. So that was actually my original goal, is I was going to put 2 per tie. We're going to deviate from that a little bit. Let me find my pipe cleaners. And I'm just going to go ahead and add some more ruffles where I see gaps. You can do whatever you want. If you feel like you want to add another ruffle per tie, I just want to make sure that I have enough tie left to add my ribbon. This is the beauty of it. This is the beauty of creating. A lot of times I don't really know what I'm going to do until I start doing it. It's sort of, I guess, like painting. As you're painting, each brush stroke, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Susan, what am I trying to say? I think Susan understands.
I think you're just trying to say that everybody's unique and everybody's wreath is going to be different.
Yep. These ties I made tuck behind because they're different than the other ones. Like, you can see how pretty these are when they're sticking out after I add my ribbon, but I might tuck these lime green ones behind. But that's all I'm going to do, is I'm just going to go ahead and find where I have gaps, and I'm going to add some more ruffles because I have the mesh. Just putting a pipe cleaner on there. I'm not going to worry so much about gluing it because it is sliding right now, but the other ruffles are going to keep it in place. So I'm not going to be too concerned about that. Just sort of make sure they're all going the same way, and you want your ruffles to stand up. Just get them so they're faced up, like nice and fluffy. Let's see. I might just do this around the top. I'm not sure if I'm going to need to do this on the bottom because we're going to be adding ribbon too. Now, if you had taken your mesh and cut it into 30-inch pieces instead of 20, one 30-inch ruffle per tie, you would have been golden. I've done that before, and that it gives a gorgeously full wreath. And you can imagine sitting there, how am I going to ruffle a 30-inch piece of mesh? It could be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's doable. But I wanted to kind of try something different. I don't think I'd ever done 20-inch pieces before. And it was funny because Bunny had messaged me, and I had forgotten that I didn't put the size I wanted to cut it. And she's like, what size are we going to do the mesh? I'm like, you know what, that's a good question. Why don't we do 20-inch pieces? Because I figured if each roll of mesh was 30 feet, we could get 18 pieces of mesh out of one roll. And that would have worked. And I was thinking, okay, we'll just do, where's my pipe cleaner? We'll just do 1 or 2 ruffles per tie. But we're going to do it a little bit different.
I can already tell I'm going to go around the bottom row too and put another ruffle in.
Are you?
Yeah.
See, and you thought these were going to be too long.
I know.
I told you. I thought you took my class where I did the 30-inch ruffles, Gina. No? I think it was the gingerbread wreath that I did. That those were 30-inch ruffles. And you guys,
I didn't do the 30-inch ruffles.
no. You guys, Patricia and anybody else who's relatively new, you can get any of my past videos too. And the majority of the ones that I did last fall were Christmas themed, but you could take the methods that I show you in these classes and do any theme. It's just a question of what color mesh you use, what pattern ribbon, what sign. So if I've sent you the listing of the past classes and you see Christmas, 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 because there was a lot of Christmas, don't worry about that. You know, you can make it any theme that you want. But this, I think, is the first time we've done 20-inch ruffles. The nice thing about doing a longer cut when you're making a wreath, obviously, is you're going to have less cuts. Less cuts is always good because you have less fraying. I'm just trying to get these to stick up. I'm doing what I told you not to do, so we're going to cut it. Let's see, I'm gonna put one more here, I think. I don't know, Gina, I might not put any on the bottom. I have to see. So I think basically what I did is I just added an additional ruffle in between each tie is really what it works out to be. So if you're making your own wreath form, let's see, if there was 8 on the top and 10 on the bottom, and I added an additional one in between each tie. I would have to count. Probably ended up having 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe 13 in the middle. I don't know, I'd have to count. Where'd my tie go? There it is. And I think I might end up having, I'm going to save some of this because I'm going to have, I have another whole stack of this mesh here. I might just save that, maybe use it at Christmas time or something. Or maybe use it for a garden wreath because it's got green in it. I really would like to do a garden wreath. There's some really pretty gardening signs out there now. Really, really cute. So I'm going to tuck these green ties underneath because I don't think I'm going to use them to attach ribbon. I'm just going to attach it to the other ties. I'm just kind of tucking them underneath so they don't show because they don't really match the other ties. Just tuck them underneath there and hide them. Just push those ruffles up. And there. Look how gorgeous that is. I could just hang it on the wall just like that. I just love ruffles. Let's take a look at the bottom and see how we look at the bottom if I want to add more.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that so pretty?
Oh, yeah.
So fluffy.
Ooh, I should say.
I love fluffy.
Hmm.
I don't know. What are you doing, Gina? Are you adding more ruffles on the bottom?
I went and hung it up on my hanger on my door to look at it, and it looks like it's going to need more around the outside because it looks like it's kind of middle heavy. Does that make sense?
What did you say?
It looks like there's too much in the middle. Like it's when I went and hung it on my hanger on my door and looked at it, it looks like I'm going to need to put some more on the outside of it.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Maybe I will too, since I have the mesh here.
It just looks like it just doesn't look uniform to me.
Right.
And I'm adding the second round of mesh to every tie thing. Mine didn't look full
Put
either.
another ruffle per tie.
I beg your pardon?
You're going to put another ruffle in per tie.
Yeah, it didn't look finished. It just kind of looked bedraggled.
When I added the ties in between the ones that were already there, it made it look a lot better.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to add any more per tie. I'm going to add other ties in between.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, what's nice about doing it that way, as opposed to adding another ruffle per tie, is you want to make sure that you're going to have enough of your pipe cleaner left to add your ribbon. Because if you don't have enough pipe cleaner left to tie your ribbon in, that's very frustrating. So I think I'm just going to add a couple more to the outside too. I just put a couple of pipe cleaners in, and I'm sorry that the angle is kind of weird, but I'm sort of going up underneath now and just adding. I might not add it in between each one. I got to see how it looks, but again, I have the mesh, so I'm going to use it. I'm just sort of pulling my green underneath here to hide it. I'm just kind of tucking it in. I don't know how many green pipe cleaners I have left. I don't think it really is going to matter because they're underneath. It's so funny because every time I finish a wreath on one of these work wreath forms, it's so puffy, and I bring it out to show my kids. It's like a standard thing that I do, and the first thing they say is, "Mom, that's huge. That's huge." Let's see. I'll put one over here. I'm sorry if you can't see. I'll flip it over.
Okay, I added the first one to my bottom, and that's what it's going to need. It's going to need it all the way around.
It looks better?
It makes it look so much better.
Good. Well, I'm a little bit blurry. I don't know why my camera does that. Where did I go? There I am. What? Like I said, guys, I'm sorry if the angle's a little bit weird, but all I'm doing is I'm just kind of going underneath in between some of the ruffles, just like I did at the top, and adding some more ruffles, just to sort of fill it in. And to use my mesh. Just hide your pipe cleaner around the back, just twist it around a couple of times. You could clip it off if you want to, but I kind of feel like it adds a little bit of extra. It holds it in place a little bit better just by kind of twisting it around the back like that. This is a big ruffle here. Hold on, how did it get so big? Oh, you know why? Because he's coming out. That's why. Uh-oh. I give my ruffles genders. This is a he. Some of them are she's. I guess it just depends. That's why he's coming out. Hold on, get back in there.
Get him back in there.
You scared the crap out of him.
Out.
Get him in there.
Tell him not to come out.
Get in there, little doggy. Isn't wreath making fun? Yeah. Look how puffy. Okay. We're doing good on time though. Whoops. Susan, you weren't in my flower class. That was a 2.5-hour class. That was a long class.
No, I wasn't, but I've asked for the video. I hadn't even looked to see if you sent it or not, but I want to do it.
I didn't know you asked for it. I'm sorry. I didn't see that. I got to send that to you then.
Oh, thank you. I haven't looked to see if you sent it, but I did ask for it because I want to do that.
Okay, I'll send it.
It looked like a lot.
I'll send it.
Okay. Great.
It's different than the poinsettia that I did. The petals are folded differently, and it's different mesh. The mesh I used for the poinsettia was 6-inch.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. Oh, yeah. Oh,
So
Lord, it took what? 5, 6
you
rolls?
did the poinsettia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, Manetti's, that was a mess. I mean, it was such a fun time.
It's still sitting unfinished in my back room.
It's finished or it isn't finished?
It is not finished.
Oh,
It's all right. It's all right.
you got time, girl. We all got time, I guess. Oh, my camera's blurry again. Hold on 1 second for me. Oh, there we go. We refocused. We are refocused. I don't know, this wreath looks pretty dang full to me. You can go in and you can cut your phrase. I like to try to tuck them in and hide them a little bit. I just like tuck them away in there so I can't see it if you have any. This isn't fraying too bad though. It's not fraying too bad. Let me see what I have in the back here. Let me see how many extra that I added. There's one there, there's one there. There's one there. Maybe I'll add a couple more and then we'll call it a day. My doggy's howling. I have one here. I think I'm going to go ahead and put one here.
Christine, did you put extra mesh around the top?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I actually ended up putting another pipe cleaner in between each one that was already there.
Okay.
And again, I apologize. My goal was to put, I'm getting my video back, hold on. My goal was to put 2 per tie, but I think that would have been too much. Oh, there it is right there, okay. Honestly, whatever you like, whatever looks good to you. If you don't think it's full enough, it takes 2 seconds, as you can see, to tie another pipe cleaner on there and add another ruffle. I like my wreaths nice and full. But the one thing you're going to notice too is that if your wreath is too full, you're going to have a hard time getting your ribbon to lay right. And I learned that the hard way. And that's why you have to make sure that you cut your ribbon long enough. 14 inches is a really good length for a ruffle this size because it's long enough that it's going to stand up and show over your ruffles. And that's what you want. You don't want the ribbon to get hidden amongst your ruffles. I'm just sort of twisting this underneath and tucking it away. I think I'm going to put one more on, then I'm going to be done. One. I'll just put one over here, and then I'm going to call it a day so we can get our ribbon added. So if you guys have not made your wreath yet, and you're just watching, go ahead and add, if you want to do it this way, the way we're doing it, and we're just adding additional ruffles in between, I'll go ahead and I'll post it in the group before I send the video. I'll add a little note to the video link when I send it and tell you exactly how many ties you're going to need and where to position them. So that'll help you. So, you know, you'll have all your materials ready. You'll have your wreath form ready, and you don't have to go back and add ties afterwards like we're doing here, even though it's not that big of a deal. But you'll have it all ready to go before you add your mesh. Now again, if we had done 30-inch ruffles and not 20, one per tie would have definitely been enough. But again, I just wanted to try something different. I'd never done the 20-inch ruffles before, so. Look at how full that is. That is one big fluffy wreath. I don't know why. I'm so sorry about that. I'm not touching my camera at all. I think that's why I think it's time for me to invest in a new camera. It tends to go out of focus sometimes all by itself. It has a life of its own. Let me just hold this up for a second to see if I want to add any more. One here, one here. You know what? I'll just do one more, just for the heck of it. One more. I have one more green pipe cleaner left. Whoops. Actually, half a pipe cleaner. Oh, no, there we go. I have another full one. Hold on. One more. Whoops. I'll only have about 2 pieces of mesh left, so that's not too bad. It's better to have a little bit extra left over than not enough. That over. Just tuck it away so you can't see that. There we go. I think that looks good. Oh, come on. There we go. What do you think, you guys? Is that pretty?
I think that looks better.
Yeah, I like it.
Good. Looks really good.
Nice and fluffy.
It's very pretty.
Thank you, my dear.
You're welcome.
But I think it looks good around. I don't think it needs any more on the outside. I think we're good.
I think it's
All right. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. If I want to add my leprechaun now and then add my ribbon, or do my ribbon first. Let me think for a minute. Because the leprechaun's pretty heavy. And I feel like if I put him in now, it's going to make adding the ribbon a little bit cumbersome. So I think I'm going to add some ribbon first here. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. All my ribbon is under my table here. Let me pull it out. It's on top of my box. Okay. I have some really pretty ribbons. I have, which I think this is actually a Christmas ribbon, but this will work for St. Patrick's Day. It's just lime green with little green dots. I have that. And I have this 1.5 inch, oops, shamrock ribbon here. Oh yeah. I have another shamrock ribbon, which is sort of like a burlap. This is a 2.5 inch. It's always good to use a mixture of different widths. Please don't tell me to blurry again. I don't really know why that's happening. I apologize so much. And I have this, which I got from Joann's, and I thought it was just so pretty, this little green sparkly. Now what I like to do is I like to cut my ribbon again in 14-inch lengths, but I also cut some longer in 16-inch because I like to make little bow ties. And I don't dovetail the ends of those because it's easier to attach them, and I'll show you how to do that in a second here. Trying to get all my ribbon spread out. Okay, so just go ahead, and it's always a good idea to try to match a 2.5 inch with a 1.5 inch. It just looks better. And this is a fun wreath. So I used to have a real hard time in the beginning matching ribbon, but you know what? It gets easier. So I'm kind of just thinking what I want to do and what's going to look nice together. I'm trying to think, because you're going to separate these once they get on the wreath. So I think I'm going to do that with that, and I'm going to do that with that. Okay. So you just take your 1.5 and place it on top of your 2.5. I like to sort of fold it in half like that, so you can find your center point and just pinch it. And that's how you're going to attach it to your wreath. Find your tie. A couple of twists. And I like to try to have them all facing the same direction. So sort of like, instead of making an X out of it, I like to sort of try to have them all facing out like that. Now, what I meant by cutting the extra longer pieces, the 16-inch pieces, is because what you can do, you know what I totally forgot that I had to? I have some green ornaments too that I could add if I wanted to. Let me find those. Hold on. I'm not sure if they're going to match. But whoops, I just fell out of the closet. Sorry about that. I got these from Craft Outlet, but I don't know. They might be too dark green, and they might be too big. These are like really big. I have to see if I even want to add those or not. I have to kind of pull it out and see if it's too big. I just remembered that I had those. So there's our first. This mesh keeps sticking to the shirt. There's our first ribbon bundle right there. So we're going to take our other. We're going to alternate. So I'll take my whiter shamrock and pair it with this pretty sparkly green. And we're just going to keep alternating and going all the way around. You can do 3 ribbon tails per tie. You can do 2. I like to do 2. It's just a matter of personal preference. I like to be able to see my mesh. I don't like to totally cover up my mesh so you can't see it. I like to be able to see the pretty mesh. A lot of wreath makers, you know, just add so much ribbon that you can't see it. I don't like that. I like to be able to see my mesh. I mean, their wreaths are very pretty. So let me show you quickly, before we add any more ribbon, what I mean about adding a bow tie. Whoops. So it really depends on, you know, you can choose any pattern that you want, any ribbon. So I chose this, and I cut it into 16 inches, and you just sort of make a circle with it, make sure the ends are folded over together, because you're going to pinch that, like that, and make a little bow tie, just like that. You can choose whatever ribbon that you want, but there's your little bow tie, and you put it right on top of your ribbon tails. And you sort of made a little bow. I am not the best bow maker in the world, so I sort of improvise and I do it this way. I do have a pro bow, but I haven't really had a chance to practice with it enough yet. But I am going to start adding bows to my wreaths.
You are going to start with that pro bow, or I'm going to wring your neck.
I know.
Girl, you
I know.
love that pro bow. Get it out and use it. I can't make a bow with the flip, but with my pro bow, I can make them.
You know what?
That's
I don't
right.
know. I feel
That's
like once I add my ribbon and my embellishments, I feel like there's no room for a bow.
Come on, Christine. Come on. There's room.
Regina was nice enough to send me the pro bow, you know, as a gift. She's a sweetheart. And I feel bad that I really haven't used it. So anyway, let's change the subject. We'll talk about that later. So let's go back to this again. We're going to alternate. I think I'm just intimidated because I see some of the gorgeous bows that people make. And I've made a few, and they just don't come out as nice. I just need to practice more. You have one, don't you, Susan? A pro bow?
Yeah, and I've been working with it for about 3 months, and it's just been in the last 6 weeks that my bows have really looked like anything besides dog do.
Oh, and you've made the Terry bow, right?
I've made the Terry bow, I've made the Damon bow, I've made every bow that's I think's known to God and man. The prettiest one, I think.
Pro bow.
Huh?
I love my pro bow.
Don't you though? I love mine.
I've had mine for 2.5 years, and I love it.
I just think it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yes, I love it, and I love it just almost as much as I love my wreath stand.
Yeah, I need to get one of those too. I need a wreath stand. All right, ladies, point taken. Point taken. But tell me if that little bow tie isn't the cutest thing in the world. Tell me.
That is cute.
Come on.
It's darling.
That is cute.
I love it.
Thank you, dear.
Welcome, dear.
No, it's SG.
That's right.
You know what? I didn't understand for the longest time what you were talking about when you were saying SG. And then I finally got it one day.
Oh, you
Sweet
crazy.
girl. She calls me sweet girl. SG. Like, what the heck? What is she
What
talking
does
about?
SG mean?
Good Lord. I love you guys. You make me laugh. I'm telling you. Ann and Patricia probably think we're nuts. But we have fun. We have fun. You know who's not here is Pammy. I miss Pammy. Then we'd really be having fun.
I miss Pammy.
Pammy's a nurse, and she works all the time.
All the time.
She does.
Christine.
Yes, ma'am.
No. Christine, no.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you think about just a little bit of black and white ribbon in
For
with
this?
Uh-huh.
Why, do you have black and white ribbon?
Uh-huh. I don't have it cut, but I've got it upstairs.
Like, what is the pattern?
It's a houndstooth.
It is going to be pretty.
I love houndstooth ribbon. That might be doable. Do you throw it in there and see?
I think I should.
You know, because if you have black in your sign, I have some black in my sign. And that's another thing, you guys. A good way. What are you laughing at?
I don't know. I'm just laughing because everybody else is laughing.
Listen, that's a good way to figure out to choose your ribbon is you go by what colors are in your sign. Now, I showed you my sign. Whoops, I keep getting caught.
Oh, and mine's got black in it. So.
Yeah. So I have, you could use some ribbon with black in it because you have black.
I think I shall.
Black sign. Right.
Okay.
So there's the answer to your question. All right, now what do we do here? We need the polka dot and the, you guys are distracting me. You're making me lose my what I'm doing here. There we go.
Mhm.
Working up one nose, but of course I don't have any.
Yep.
How you doing, Ann? Do you think we're crazy or what?
I hope so. That means I've joined the right group.
There you go. See?
Pick you up a few.
I'm enjoying all this.
Go to Staples.
That's good.
But you've left me behind with the wreath.
What's that?
You've left me behind with the wreath, or I've just fallen behind.
No, you know, honey, that's totally fine. Don't. And I was going to tell you that if you fall behind, if you aren't going at our pace, that's why you get a copy of the video, because you can just stop and watch and finish your wreath when you it's totally fine. This isn't a race. You're here to learn. So just finish it later when you get the video. It's totally fine. No pressure. I'm the one that's under the pressure to finish. Let me be pressured. Don't you feel pressured.
I hope I can do it half as fast as you someday.
You know what? It's fine. Like I said, it's not a race. I've been doing this for a little while. When I took my first class, what am I looking for here? When I took my first class, it was in one just like this. It was a Zoom meeting. And I didn't finish mine either. In fact, I tried to make a bow and I ended up throwing it in a pile on the floor. So I didn't finish my wreath either during class. So it's fine. And you're going to find that the more you make, the easier it's going to get.
I can sympathize with what you said earlier, though, at the beginning. I got a new rotary cutter my husband bought me, and I cut my finger with it. Right?
Yeah, they're like box cutters. You got to be careful.
Oh, my
They're
goodness.
sharp.
Yeah, it really is.
And I cut my finger yesterday, and every time I take the Band-Aid off, it starts bleeding again. And I'm thinking, I hope I didn't cut it too deep.
You didn't get did you get a rotary cutter with a safety guard?
Yeah, it's got a guard on it. So you basically just
you still cut
do that, and it comes out. And then you press the button, and it goes back. But what I was doing is I was cutting this mesh with it, and it had all the little fibers, and I'm going like that, like a dummy.
Yeah.
Trying to brush it off. There's still some on there.
No.
And,
No.
That's how I cut myself. So I didn't actually cut myself as I was cutting my mesh. I cut myself as I was trying to clean it.
I got you. I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry for, little girl?
Cause you cut yourself.
Oh, all right. I'm thinking, why are you sorry?
Christina,
Yes, dear.
this black really makes it pop.
I can't wait to see that. I never would have thought to get black. And I had black on my sign too.
Yeah.
I can't wait and I love houndstooth ribbon.
I'm only gonna do like maybe 5. I think that'll be enough.
Yeah.
It really adds a different dimension. I love it. Okay, I'm going.
Okay, my
so
dear.
Somebody else can talk.
I'm not going to add a bow tie to every one. I got to see, because I might want to add some up here. So I'm going to save some of my longer pieces. Maybe I'll try to add those ornaments. They're kind of big, though. I don't know. I have to see. Let me pull one out. When I ordered them from Craft Outlet, they just didn't look that big. And silly me doesn't really look at the dimensions when I order stuff. I just look at the picture. Oh, it's got these neat little wires hanging on here too. So I'll probably just cut that off and glue it. Let me just see. I don't know. Do you think that's too big? If I wanted to maybe put one of those there. You guys.
It's not too big.
I can't see
It's
you.
not big.
maybe not add a lot, but a few.
Yeah, I mean your
Like to the-
leprechaun's
to the-
big,
to
so
the
it's not going to be I can't even think.
Proportion.
Proportion. That's the word.
Yeah.
Let me plug my glue gun in because I think I'm gonna add a couple. I'm not gonna add a lot. Maybe just to the ones, like I said, where I'm not gonna add the bow tie. I'll put a couple of ornaments in there. All right, let's see.
Bunny,
I need this.
Bunny.
Uh-oh, where's Bunny?
I was trying to unmute Bunny so I could talk.
Where you?
Is
Bunny,
Bunny
you still there?
here?
Do what, Bunny?
Is Bunny still here?
I don't know.
I thought, well, I don't know. I hope so.
Let me look at my screen here and see if she's still here. No, I think she left. Maybe she wasn't feeling well. I don't see her on anymore.
We'll have
We'll
to,
have to check on her.
yeah, we'll have to check on her tomorrow and be sure she's okay.
She hasn't been feeling that well lately, so.
Yeah, I know. It's scary.
Are y'all talking about me?
Oh, there she is.
I thought
She
so.
left. Listen to her.
Did you not see my name still there?
I didn't see
Saw
it.
it. And I said I tried to unmute you
I thought y'all were talking about me.
so I could talk. I tried to unmute you so I could talk.
Uh-huh.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
But yeah, I have had some heart issues the last 6 months. They just don't want to, actually almost a year. They just don't want to get cleared up.
Mm. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's just aggravating.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
How's
I'm
the
glad
weather
you're
at the beach?
talking about me.
How's the weather?
All
How's
right.
the weather at the beach, Bunny?
Yeah, I am at the beach.
They ought to be.
How's the weather? Is it warm?
Love it at the beach too.
Nice. I'd love to be at the beach right now.
The weather next week is supposed to be close to the 70s all week long.
77.
So we're going to have some nice weather next week.
Awesome.
Uh-huh.
I can't wait for spring.
Oh, Bunny. To be at the beach.
But I believe I'd be sick of snow if I was up there working.
You have no
Oh,
idea.
I would be too. Where Christina lives,
Yeah.
I'd be ready to move.
That's why I live in the South.
And me too.
Where do you live, Susan?
I live in Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, I'm in Dalton, Georgia, right below Chattanooga.
I know where you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with whom am I speaking?
This is Gina.
Okay. Okay, Gina.
Gina Jennings.
That's great to know. All right.
Gina, where are you again? You're in Georgia?
Yes, Dalton, Georgia. It's about 30 minutes below Chattanooga, Tennessee, about an hour and a half above Atlanta.
All right, I'm going to put one more set of ribbon tails down here, and then I'm going to move to the top. I don't typically put as much ribbon on the top as I do on the bottom, especially if I'm going to have a sign, and I've got my leprechaun, and he's pretty big, so he's probably going to take up a lot of room. So I've got all my ribbon after I add this on the bottom, and then I'll put my leprechaun in, and then I'll probably add more ribbon as I see fit. Where's my other tie? I need one more right here. You can see what happened here. I ended up having two of the same types of ribbon next to each other, which would normally drive me crazy.
Yes.
But I'm going to let it go.
Good.
I'm not going to let it drive me crazy.
Yes.
It is what it is.
That's right. Lisa.
I think I'm going to add a couple of ornaments though before I move to the top.
That is precious.
You talking to me? You talking to
Oh.
ST?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was still on. I'm
You're
glad
on, baby.
I didn't say an ugly word. I'll take myself off.
You don't have to take yourself off. I like to hear you talk. And I'm going to add this here. There's a great big old ornament because the color matches perfectly.
That looks really good there.
Thank you. But I'm not going to add too many because they are kind of big. I'll put one there. Oh, my ribbon just fell on the floor.
Christina, where'd you get those big green balls?
Craft Outlet. And again, they didn't look that big.
I said, where did you get the green balls?
Craft Outlet.
Okay.
And they didn't look that big when I was ordering them. That's why I was surprised. That happens to me a lot when I order from them. I'm like so excited about, you know, ordering it, and then I get it, and it's not the size I thought it was going to be. I'm making a mess in my craft room right now. If you guys could only see, I'm just throwing stuff everywhere. Let's see where I can add another one here. One right here. I can't really put one where I have a bow tie, so oh, he fell out. That's what happens when you walk away and the glue's not dry. Stay.
I have to go back and dovetail every one of my stupid ribbons on my wreath. I forgot to dovetail.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
You know what a dovetail is, Anne, when we say that term, you know what we mean by that?
Yes, I think I do.
Yeah, that's a dovetail. You just take your ribbon and you fold it and you just give it a cut, and that just makes a nice pretty edge. I probably should have said that before. My apologies. That's a dovetail. All right, I'm going to get my leprechaun. I'm going to try to tie him in before I put any ribbon in here. So, and he's kind of heavy. So let me think here for a second. I'm going to have to get some floral wire, I think. I'm going to put him right in the middle. And this is kind of where you can use the mesh to your advantage too, because the mesh can kind of hold your sign. It can hold any, but I'm going to have to tie him in. So let me get some floral wire. I'll probably just end up wrapping it right around his waist. And then I think I'm still going to put the sign right in the middle of him, because that way it'll cover up the wire too. I'm just trying to pull this piece of. So just get some regular floral wire, or if you have yarn, you can use yarn. I'm just going to sort of wrap it around his waist. Give it a couple of twists, and then I'll go through the wreath form with the wire and secure it that way. So kind of push it through. Don't worry about squishing your ribbons, because you can always fix those after. Just attach the wire to your wreath form. I don't really want to go too tight yet, because I want to make sure he's positioned correctly. He isn't going to slide down on me. Oh, he looks like he's, look at that. He's in there pretty good. Let me show you guys and you can see. Oh, he's so cute. With those little striped legs.
Oh, that's Darlin.
Isn't he cute?
Yes, it's Darlin.
We're going to add more ribbon.
I want to see.
Can you see?
Oh,
But we're not done yet, folks. But you know, look at that. He fit right in there. He's not going anywhere, just from a little bit of floral wire. So I'm going to go ahead, I think. I don't know. I love his little outfit. I don't really want to cover up his outfit. But I want to use that sign, too. You can kind of pull your ruffles up a little bit to hold him in place. Uh-oh, his leg. His leg to stay down there. Looks like he's getting ready to take a nap. He's just hanging out there. So here's my sign. So what I really wanted to do is sort of like put it under him like he's holding it. I think that would be kind of cute. Just like that in the middle.
Great. Just
Like
that's
that?
great. Yes.
Because not really, you know, you can still see his little bow tie and
Yes, that looks cute.
yeah. So we're going to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my pipe cleaners and feed him through. And find one of the bars of my, under all these massive ruffles I have here. And this sign is very light. I think I got this from the Dollar Tree. And it was actually part of a bigger sign. It had like a hat. It had a hat and it had legs too. And I just took the middle part out. Because I just like the Happy St. Patrick's Day on there. So I figured I'm not going to need a hat and legs because I already have a leprechaun. So I just sort of disassembled the sign. Oh, now he's starting to sink in a little bit. I don't want him to sink in too much. His little hands to show. I gotta flip him around for a second, guys, just so I can look at it. So cute. What do you think of that?
That's
So
precious.
far.
Absolutely precious.
Aw, I think so too.
I can't see it still.
You can't?
Uh-uh.
What do you mean?
You've gone away.
I have. Could anybody else see me? Can you tap on my picture? Or,
I see you.
I like them.
I don't see
it too.
I don't see your picture.
who can't see me?
Me, Susan Sullivan.
Can you see everybody else?
I see Gina. I see Bunny. I see Patricia. I see myself.
What are you using, Susan? Are you using your phone or what are you using?
Tonight I'm using my phone. I couldn't get Zoom on my computer for some reason.
Is anybody else using their phone that can help her? Because I'm not quite sure why you lost me. I'm not really familiar with how it looks on the phone, so.
I'm using my phone and I can see you, so I don't know. I'm not so sure. I just double click on a
Paulina?
picture. I said, I'm using my phone and I can see you.
You can?
Yeah, I can.
Well, dog.
You didn't even see a little box with me in it, Susan?
I don't see Christina. I promise. You are not on my phone.
That's so weird.
You maybe want to click out and come back in again?
Will I be able?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let me
Try that.
Okay. Let me put the tie on my wreath, and I'll try that.
I'm trying to like maybe cross his legs a little bit to see if I can do that, but this mesh is just so puffy. His legs just keep wanting
I
to
love this wreath.
stick up.
Okay. So
We'll worry about his legs later. Okay. I'm going to see if I can add some more ribbon now to the top because I have more room here to add more ribbon.
okay. I went out. I came back in.
Can you see me?
No, now I can see Anne and Bunny. I mean, I feel like the lady from Romper Room who has the magic mirror.
Yeah.
I can see Gina. I can see Susan.
You know, I'm not quite sure what happened, unless maybe your
I
settings
probably
are off now.
Well, I probably. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I got peeps all up and down. There you are. I found you. I'm
So
excited.
just double click on my picture. You probably had to hit the little arrow.
I knew that Christina had to be there somewhere because you were hearing her.
Killing me. You guys are getting me all discombobulated.
Discombobulated. That's what you need to be.
No, because I'm trying to finish my wreath and you're confusing me now.
I'm sorry, but I found you, and it's darling.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I love it. Well, I am finished, and I think I'm going to say goodnight, and I'll send you a picture.
After all that, now you're going to leave.
Well, I found you.
Okay. Yeah, you already finished your wreath?
Yeah.
Well, good Lord, smack my mama.
I mean it, girlfriend.
I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait for you to. I love it.
I want
My husband told me I could sell it to we have this we have a lot of Irish bars in town, but there's this one in particular, and he said, you know, you could sell that at Conley's. I said, well, do you want to call her right now? And he said, no, not tonight. I said, how about tomorrow? He said, yep.
There you go.
So maybe this one has a home.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be great.
All right, Miss Susan, send me a picture.
I shall. Night, all.
Good night.
Good night, Susan.
Good night, Miss Bunny. I'll talk to you later, okay?
Just going to add some more ribbon here because I have more ribbon.
Well, I have to go fix my sign and let it dry overnight where I can hang it tomorrow, but I went through and dovetailed everything.
Where are you going now?
I have to glue my stuff in my sign so because it has to dry overnight. The E6000 has to dry overnight.
Yes.
And then I will be able to put it on tomorrow.
Okie dokie.
I will see you later. Have a great evening.
Good night, Gina.
Night, everybody.
Good night, Gina.
We're almost done here anyway. It's 9:45, so I'm just adding a little bit more ribbon here. I actually have these shamrocks I have to try to add. I may wait and I may glue these on a little bit later, because you know, a lot of times when I'm in the class, it's because the angle of my wreath on the table, and then I'm kind of looking up at the laptop. I actually do a lot of tweaking to my wreaths when I'm done and it's hanging on my wall, and I can get a better idea of how things look. So, but I want to keep adding a little bit more ribbon here. Well, my glue gun really smells pretty strong right now. Do I need glue gun anymore right now? Let's see. That's a real strong smelling glue. Where else can I add some ribbon here? Hold on. I might just add a big bow tie up there. Let's see. I think that would look pretty. I'm going to add some more ribbon up here, actually. Hold on. All my ribbon kind of fell on the floor, so if you keep seeing me bending down, that's where I'm going, is to retrieve my ribbon. So it's always good to add your centerpiece, your sign, your leprechaun, if you have a bunny for Easter, add that to your middle and then fill in with more ribbon as you see fit and where it needs it. This is why it's important to make sure that you have enough of your tie left, because you can get pretty, it's kind of tricky adding ribbon when you don't have a lot of your pipe cleaner left. I just had like barely enough here to add my bow tie. I think I'm going to add an ornament right there. But again, you know, I like to be able to see my mesh. I don't like to cover it up so much with ribbon that you can't see it, because it's so pretty. Maybe I'll just add a little bow tie right here. I might not add a full ribbon bundle, but maybe just a bow tie, because I have a tie right here. Let's see. What do I have left here? I'm on my floor again. What can I put over there? I think I'm going to do this. Maybe I will add just another bundle. Hold on, let me think for a second. Because I still have ribbon left on my floor here. Everything fell on the floor in my frenzy here, in my creating frenzy. You're going to find, Anne, as you start creating more, you're going to become ribbon obsessed, because there's just so much pretty ribbon out there. I'm going to have to figure out what I want to do with his feet, because they're not hanging right. Let's see, what do I want to put there? Oh, I do have another long piece left, so I can make another bow tie. That'll work. But you can see that the reason why I like these big fuzzy ties is because they look nice at the end. You don't necessarily have to cut them off. This one's actually holding his leg in place over there. But I think I'm done for now. I may add these afterwards if I have room. I don't really have a lot of room left after I added my leprechaun. What do you think, you guys? I'm gonna hang it on my wall and mess with it. Yeah?
Yeah, it looks really good.
Isn't he cute?
He's adorable. And those little green, the ties, they look like a little bit of greenery from the woods.
Yes, yes.
And
That's why I like using those, because you don't necessarily have to worry about hiding them. Like I did the other pipe cleaners. I kind of had to tuck those away into the back. You know what his legs remind me of? They remind me of the Wicked Witch of the West. Remember she had those stripy socks on? when the house fell on her?
They do.
All right, you guys, do you have any questions at all for me, or?
I'm glad you showed me how to. I'm glad you showed us how to get the leprechaun on there.
You what?
Because I was wondering how I was going to get him on.
Did you miss that part, Bunny?
Huh?
Did you miss that part?
Yeah, I've got one just like him, and I was excited to know that I could just wrap some.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all it took. And and he's in there. He's pretty secure. He's not going anywhere. So
yeah.
And like I said, I may add more. I may add more ornaments. I may add more ribbon. I kind of have to hang it on my wall and look at it and see. But I don't really want to overdo it with these because these are kind of big. So, but we'll see. The picture that I post may look entirely different than it does right now. We'll see. But he's gonna say good night.
Good night.
Wave.
Good night.
I'm corny like that.
Well,
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Christina.
You're very welcome, Ann.
Thank you. Have a good one.
What were you going to say, Ann?
I was just going to say thank you so much. It was really, really excellent.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm so happy. This was really an excellent experience for me. My very first wreath ever.
Aw. And you know what? And don't worry, like I said, don't worry about rushing to finish it. Take your time. And I would love to see a picture when it's done.
Oh, I'll put a picture up for you.
Okay, sounds good.
Hopefully it'll be something I can be proud of, but
you know what? I'm sure it will be, because you made it with your own two hands. Do you know what I mean?
yes.
And as you make more, you'll find that they'll get better and better. Just wait and see.
I hope so. Thank you so much, Christina.
You're welcome. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining me.
Have a good evening.
You too. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.